this video, I'm going to show you how I very quickly whipped up this squad of mobile infantry from Starship Troopers out of this box of plastic army guys. Welcome to Cheap and Easy Wargaming, where we keep the hobby fun, fast and affordable. After the response I got from my last video making these Starship Trooper Arachnids out of clothes pegs, I was just crazy excited to whip up some mobile infantry to pit them against. And it just so happens that a few weeks ago I found this box of plastic army guys at a car boot sale. I have had a box of these guys before, and right back then I thought these would be perfect to make Starship Troopers at some point. So in the past few days, YouTube algorithms showed me a guy who's done exactly this and done it a lot better than I'm about to do it. And also someone on the Facebook page I follow, Super Cheap Wargaming, has done an excellent job with this. So I suggest you check both of those out. As far as plastic army men go, these guys are pretty good sculpts. And while this box cost me £4.50 at a recent car boot sale, I know you can get them in Smiths here in the UK for about £10–11. You get some pretty cool extras as well in this box, and I'm definitely going to be using those for some things in the near future. But for now, I just need to try and concentrate on one thing at a time and get this squad started. I also picked these guys up a little while ago from a charity shop. It was £1 for a pack of these, and I've used a couple of them already. Again, these guys are pretty good sculpts, and I just thought it would be really cool to use one of these guys as Drill Sergeant Zim. And yes, I know he's not wearing this uniform when he's in combat, but hey, I've never been one to get bogged down with details. So ideally I'd go with a guy with the arm up in the air, but I've only got one of them, and I'm hoping that in future I can convert that to Commissar Caiaphas Cain, for those that know. So for now it's just going to be this guy here leading the charge. And here he is leading his 10 mobile infantrymen, or women, or both, into battle. I've chosen 10 because then that gives me the option of using them as a single unit in one-page rules Grimdark Future. But if I decide I want to play Grimdark Future Firefight, then I can just break them down into standard infantry units of 3 and have the option of using Zim, Rico or the other sergeant as just single units. And it also works out really well as there are 5 different sculpts that I wanted to use, and I can just double those up to make the 10. So with these two guys in particular, I wanted to make one of them into Lieutenant Michael Ironside's character, which means just chopping off the arm at the elbow here and replacing it with a different arm from a different toy. And this one here is going to be Rico, so don't really need to do much to that. That's good as it is. So just to give you an idea of reference for the size of these soldiers, from the bottom of the feet to the top of the head, that's about 1 3/4 inches. And in real money, you are talking about 45mm. The only genuine Games Workshop miniatures I have are these pre-loved orcs. So again, just next to the model there, just to give you an idea of scale. And last but not least, our clothes peg, or as I've now been reliably informed, alligator clip Arachnid. Here he is on the poker chip that I'm going to be using for the bases. And on that note, I'd like to thank Hasdrubal Wargaming for commenting on my previous video recommending gluing a poker chip to the underside of the base here. It just gives some added stability and weight to the model. These things are quite top heavy, so thank you very much for that. When I've used plastic army soldiers before, I've just glued their bases straight onto the poker chip for a number of reasons. Firstly, it's quicker, it's easier, and it does actually give them a lot more strength and stability once they're done. But as you can plainly see here, the end result isn't nearly as pretty. This bit wasn't nearly as fast or as easy as I was expecting it to be, but that's probably due to how blunt my blades are. Most things that I buy for this kind of project, I convince my girlfriend are either for her or the children, but with Stanley blades, that's a bit more tricky. So they are always the last things to get replaced. I definitely recommend seeing this step through though, as they do look so much better once they're done. Now all I need to do is that exact same thing another 10 times. I'll save you the pain of having to witness the whole thing, but once they're all done, just trim around any little excess bits, and then it's just a case of getting these bad boys on their bases. England currently seems to be going through an unseasonably summery summer, by which I mean the sun's out, which means I get to do this outside, and that makes the whole process a lot easier. Also significantly speeds up the drying time, which is a bonus. To try and hold them in place while I was spraying, I decided to take some masking tape and just fold that over onto itself here. At this point, you'd be forgiven for thinking, wow, this guy must be excellent at rolling a cigarette. In fact, I've never tried it. I must just be a natural. Turns out that it wasn't actually the best way of doing it. A few of them did fall over whilst I was spraying. On this last one, I decided just to stick the masking tape across the top of the feet. Feet don't really matter because they're going to get painted black anyway. And this did seem to hold him a lot more sturdy than the others were. Sadly, this grey primer paint just wasn't as dark as I was hoping it would be. But having recently run out of white paint, I was working through any other options I had and I couldn't come up with anything right there and then. So I decided that I'm going to have to just stay this colour for now. And obviously when I say for now, I mean that's it. That's the colour they're going to stay forever. So for Lieutenant Ironside here, my intention was to cut the elbow off and to replace it with a slightly oversized hand from a different toy and then just paint it silver. That would have been a pretty close approximation to the way his bionic hand looks in the movie. However, all of my other toys are up in the loft, so I had to improvise with what I had right there and then. This is just a temporary measure, and this one will definitely be getting replaced as soon as I get a chance. This monstrosity looks so much like a Lego hand that I may as well have just glued a Lego hand to it. So this step is basically just me adding paint to the bare skin in much the same way as you would see a toddler finger painting. So that's the hands and faces of all 11 of them done. And it's at times like this we can all be grateful that I have such a poor quality camera. So if anybody would like to support the channel by buying me a new phone, I would take literally anything at this point. Even a Nokia 3310 would be an upgrade from what I'm currently using. So until then, we'll just carry on with Lieutenant Michael Ironside's character. There's no point writing in the comments below what his name is because I've already been looking at it for the last 10 minutes, and the more I look at it, the less sense the name makes. Now I'm just going to glue everyone to their bases, and this will make it easier for when I'm painting their boots and any other little black details. So we all know those videos where people are so good at their job, either washing windows or tossing pizzas, that they've actually made it into an art form and it's very therapeutic to watch. Well, this is a bit like that, only not quite. But if I've said it once, I've said it 100 times. Once you've got a table full of terrain and miniatures all set up, it looks great. As long as you don't look at any one thing too closely, it's all good. And if you're still watching at this point thinking, what a load of crap, then you better look away now, because I'm about to start using a Sharpie. And as nobody in their right minds would want to see a middle-aged man drawing on toy soldiers with a Sharpie, we can just cut to the next step where Michael Ironhand can have a quick dry brush of silver. There you go, sometimes I even impress myself. And now for the pièce de résistance, or as the French would say, the best bit of the video. Here I've mixed a wash of just a cheap acrylic craft paint, water, and just a touch of washing up liquid. This is literally the first time I've ever done this. I was hoping that this technique was going to darken the grey slightly, which it didn't, but it did get into all of the recesses, the details, and really brought the details of the model out. And then it was just a case of using a tissue or my fingers just to rub the excess off, and then re-glue anything that I've broken with my heavy-handed approach to miniature painting. And that was it done. Like I say, I've never actually used that technique for miniatures before. I do quite like it, to be fair. It gives them a very comic book illustration kind of look, just very defined black lines. Would I take them to my local wargaming hobby shop? Definitely not. But if I'm just at home playing with myself, then these guys are perfect. They cost a matter of pennies each and a couple of hours to get the whole squad done. Then all you need to worry about is how you're going to get your wife and kids out of the house for a couple of hours. So for anybody still watching, thank you very much. I do appreciate it. This video is a bit different to the kind of thing I want to really do on this channel. I'm certainly not a miniature painter. This video is really just to emphasize how quickly and easily and cheaply you can get your army out on the table and get to the fun part, which is playing a game, which at the end of the day is what we're all really here for. So if you do want to see more cheap and easy wargaming ideas, then I would really appreciate it if you would consider liking this video, subscribing to the channel maybe. I really do appreciate all the positive comments and feedback I've had from people who have viewed my other videos. I really can't explain how much it means to me. This is still only my third video, so until next time, look after yourselves and keep being cheap and easy.